Devolver. Devolver's involved in this, but they're not listed as the publisher. I mean, that makes it even more mysterious. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this, guys. So as an indie game developer myself, I have a personal interest in studying the launches of other games, and I'm particularly intrigued by games which seem to underperform on launch. So today I have a particular game I want to share with you that is visually stunning. It has years of work behind it, has a passionate team and a reputable publisher, yet for whatever reason, it doesn't seem like it did all too well. So I want to kind of work through it and try to deconstruct the mystery of what went wrong. So the game is called Moroi. It's a psychological thriller based on Romanian folklore. Top-down, hack and slash. And just the environments look so good, you know, comparable to some of the newer Diablo games. I mean, that looks like Diablo 4, some of those outdoor areas. All right. So, a very polished game. You know, you can see how much professional craft has gone into it. So why, 2 weeks now, after launch, does the game only have 17 reviews? Now that is the mystery which I don't quite understand. There are a lot of games that launched in that week, even on that same day, that are perhaps even lesser games that have done well. Skin Deep, which launched on exactly the same day, has 668 reviews. Bahamut and the Wuk Wuk Tree, which launched a week later, has more than double the reviews and is at a similar price point. Best Served Cold, 136 reviews. Deck of Haunts, a week later, similar price point, 239 reviews. Now, review count is not the best metric for determining sales, but it is useful enough to pretty much gauge if a game has been successful at launch or not. So let's have a look how many people are playing this. Yeah, okay, well, that kind of sums it up, guys. One player, a 24-hour peak of 2, and an all-time peak pretty much at launch of 17 players. Now keep in mind, if you're releasing a game, you're probably playing it too, so I imagine some of those 17 are actually people affiliated with the project or friends of those. This Gamealytic website also provides some interesting insights. It claims the game has sold a cumulatively 390 units. Now I'm not sure how accurate this data is or how exactly this website is extrapolating this kind of information, but I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. It says that over the past 7 days, only 60 copies have been sold. So you can see not long after launch, the sales were a cumulative of 325. And since that time, over the next 2 weeks, it hasn't gone up a whole lot. 390 units times a $15 price point USD brings us to just under $6,000. Factor in taxes, Steam fees, and publisher rates, and that will get even smaller. And it is really disappointing to see because the game clearly has a lot of passion and hard work put into it, but I'd like to know what people are saying and why it's sitting at mixed. And the thing to remember with game launches, quite often they do sit at mixed. I've seen games that went down to mostly negative and then throughout the course of the launch week go back up to positive. Like you can have this really dramatic swing. So just because there's a few negative reviews on this game is not necessarily indicative of, you know, the game in itself. Characters and atmosphere are very creative and fun, but the combat is unforgivably janky so far. Really great atmosphere, creative setting, and the actual gameplay is pretty bad. Hey, this guy got it for free. Brutal. It's stunningly beautiful and rather original, overly awful combat system. So a lot of feedback related to this combat system feeling a bit janky. You know, that's the kind of thing you can probably fix post-launch. You know, tweak the timing of attacks, maybe the feedback. I decided the only way to know for sure what's going on is to play the game. And fortunately, the game has a production demo. And immediately upon entering the game, you feel the high production experience. The game is clearly positioning itself as a premium AA style game. The world looks stunning and the music is on par with the likes of Diablo 4. A lot of interesting and creepy set pieces, like this exploding pig carcass, which looks straight out of, I don't know, there's some crazy horror movie. It's very Silent Hill-esque. Now I must say the demo did start a little slow. It was front-loaded with a lot of exposition and a lot of his mini fetch quests where I would have liked to really get into the combat sooner. I reflected on the negative comments regarding combat, and I think I understand the objections. You see, the game controls like a twin-stick shooter, where you need to physically orient yourself towards enemies using the right analog stick. And then you have a choice of light and heavy attacks depending on which shoulder button you press. Your gun then overheats, at which point you need to manually switch back and forth between melee using a button on the D-pad. It can become quite involving and lead to some fatigue. It's not horrible by any means, but it could be ironed out a little bit. I think it could be resolved by having the player auto-orient towards nearby enemies, and maybe auto-switching to melee when your gun overheats. Bottom line, it can be solved. The game could also do with some on-screen objectives, as there were times where I was just walking in circles aimlessly. It's not a deal breaker, but it'll definitely improve the experience. I did also run into some bugs, such as this keycode panel being stuck on screen after a puzzle until I died. It's probably an easy fix, but that's the problem when you position yourself as a premium AA game in terms of look and feel. There is an expectation that comes with that market positioning. Minor flaws and imperfections can suddenly stand out and dramatically taint the whole experience. People are very picky with their game purchases these days. There are so many games to buy, and people are also short on spending money, so little issues can quickly become red flags. All in all, it's a solid game, a good game, and certainly deserving of more attention, and clearly the publisher thought so too by taking the game on. So I want to now delve into that and see if we can kind of pull a few threads and work out what this launch actually looked at from a marketing perspective. So first, let's check out this publisher, Good Shepherd Entertainment. Okay, they've got a substantial amount of followers. So they've got a lot of games in their library, and John Wick Hex, 2,826, 1,000 review plus. So they've got some big games, 1,000 plus reviews, 594, and then it comes to Moroi, 17. Yeah, I mean, what has gone wrong here? I'd really love to know how many wish lists this game had going into launch. We might be able to check it on... Yeah, so the game has almost 2,000 members on the Steam page, which tells me the game may have had around 20,000 wish lists, and I base this around how many members my game has. Blood and Mead. So I've got 2,120, and I've got approximately 20,000 wish lists. So they're kind of around that mark. So it's a significant amount of wish lists. Just checking out the Twitter page for Moroi. They are from Switzerland. Cool. Joined 2020. So maybe that's when the game started development. Let's go all the way back if we can. Yeah. So March 9th, 2020. They are at a convention of some kind, showing off what looks to be a demo of their game. So at this point, I imagine the game had already been in development for some time. To get it into this point, you got to have some runway. So this game could very well be, 6 to 7 years in the making. So they had a teaser trailer 5 years ago and a demo 4 years ago, and a launch trailer 2 weeks ago. Only 740 views. Damn. And here we have the publisher, Good Shepherd Entertainment. They're promoting the game, their cover and avatar. 15,000 followers. And some posts here promoting the game. That's cool. But you can see the engagement on these posts is very low. Extremely low. No comments, 6 hearts. No comments, 8 hearts. No comments, 11 hearts. Yeah. Engagement is hard. It is. But for a publisher with an account that has 15,000 followers, I would expect just a little bit more than this. This seems unusually low for an account of this size. So for comparison, here is my page. I've got 4,542 followers. My pinned tweet has 11k views, 287 hearts. Me slapping a Unity logo, 155 hearts. And here I just put a doorway, which was one of my more popular ones. 267 hearts, 10k views. And the point simply is, for an account with over 15,000 followers, you might expect to see slightly higher engagement. So I found a credits roll for the game, which might be an interesting insight into how big the production was. We've got the director, game designer, and programmer is this Alexandru character. So it very much looks to be the brainchild of this individual. And we have quite a few more getting involved. Combat design, writing, yeah, just a lot of work. Whoa, what's this? Devolver Digital. Devolver. Devolver's involved in this? They've got the whole Devolver credit roll on here. What the hell? But they're not listed as the publisher. So what involvement did Devolver have? Because if you don't know, Devolver is one of the biggest publishers and has a reputation of everything they touch turns to gold, more or less. It's very, very interesting. So has Devolver promoted this? Can't see anything in the past month. Here we go. Moroi release date trailer. 1 month ago. 33,000 views. But then nothing at launch? All right, I've got to get to the bottom of this, guys. This publisher, Good Shepherd, is owned by Devolver, which is why Devolver was listed in the credits. And I imagine that means Devolver oversees the release of this because they have a financial interest in it being a success. Well, the plot definitely thickens. So this is a very good reminder for indie developers that just because your game is being published by a big name, a reputable name with a good track record of success, does not guarantee that they can do for you what they've done for previous games. I feel the pain for this developer team because clearly they've been working on this game for a long time. And part of me making these videos like this is not to rub salt into wounds, it's to educate, that we can kind of use hindsight to find some kind of answer, but also to then give some exposure to the game and to the developers that maybe we can, through my community, accumulate some minor momentum. And maybe, who knows, maybe we can even steer the ship in the other direction. You know, people do like this game. And I just think the game needs more eyes. I think that's kind of what it's coming down to here. So that's about it, guys. Now, I'm interested to hear what you guys might think about this particular situation. Is there something that I've missed? Because the game is objectively beautiful and it plays fairly well, at least deserving of more players and reviews than that, in my opinion. But maybe it's something more. Maybe the game and the theme and the genre is incompatible with the market right now. Who knows? But ultimately, I think it might be related to eyeballs on launch. Anyways, let me know what you think. And of course, do go check this game out. If you like the look of it, show them some love, show them some support, drop a positive review, and let's try to turn those mixed reviews up. And it will hopefully motivate the development team to sort out some of these combat issues that are being flagged, and maybe then they can recover some of this launch. By the way, if you too would like to make a side-scroller like mine, you might consider grabbing my 2D movement kit from the Unity Asset Store. The controls are fully pre-configured for both mobile, for keyboard on PC, for console controllers, so you just have to pick your control type and start building your game. And you can customize a lot of things, turn on wall jumping, push things around. It's a perfect starting point and saves you going through all these tutorials to get up and running. I'll put a link down below in the description of the video. Buying that will help you and it'll also help support this channel, so check it out. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.